Oh my gosh, the things I do for this vlog, I literally made my bed for you. Also, the lighting in this room, I have not figured it out. This is my bedroom at the apartment, and I look like a little angel, I guess, because there's like a weird window at the top that you can't put blinds on. It's a little strange, so I haven't really figured out the lighting. I put all my blinds down. I closed my windows. It was getting so hot in here because I closed windows because it's so loud outside. It's right next to a road, so we had to turn the AC on. It was a whole production, and I was sweating so profusely that I had to go wash my face. So we're here now, but that's what it took to get here. So this vlog, I'm going to talk about my Lyme test results and co-infection test results. They all came back. And also the neuropathy, nerve damage symptoms that I have been experiencing that has been kind of an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to start with the Lyme test results. So out of breath. I need to just slow down. I'm a little in the fight or flight because it's been a lot, and as I tell this story you'll understand why I've been in the fight or flight. So basically I'm gonna start with the test results. So everything was negative, thank God, because I was so nervous. I have been down that Lyme and tick co-infection route 12 years ago. That's what started my whole journey. Is I had a positive Lyme, I had a positive Babesia test, and I went to like 6 years of 4 or 5 different doctors, and every treatment I was ever on, it never made me feel any better. I had debilitating fatigue, horrible brain fog, all these other symptoms that I started accumulating because I was reacting to all the supplements and getting side effects from everything. It was a nightmare, and I did not want to start that again because I did not react well to all of that. So I'm so grateful that all of that came back normal, but I started having all of these new symptoms. So the first one I noticed was dizziness. So I think I talked about this in 2 vlogs ago, but when I was in the shower washing my hair, so I had my eyes closed because I didn't want to get soap in my eyes, I was so dizzy. It was like I'd lost my center of balance, and I was like a fall risk. So I started only showering in my shower chair, sitting down, because I've almost fainted several times in the shower. So I started doing that, but that was really scary, and then it progressed to me being dizzy or having that same feeling of not having my center of gravity, even when I did not have my eyes closed. So like right now, I don't really feel like I have a center of gravity. Almost like when you come out of anesthesia, kind of loopy and like, you know, like, whoa, like you could kind of fall. That's how I feel. That's terrifying. I don't want to be a fall risk. I'm 26 years old. I shouldn't be a fall risk. So that was a very scary symptom. The next scary symptom I noticed was that my feet were burning. And when I first noticed it was at night. Apparently I have to sleep with my feet touching each other all night long. And wherever they were touched, it would feel like they were burning. And it started in my feet, and I was like, that's a really weird symptom. I've never had this happen before. That's strange. But I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, maybe that's just like a weird new thing. I'll keep an eye on it. It progressed to like my whole feet, and not just when it was touching something. So not just like touch, like hot or cold sensitive, but literally all the time. They felt like they were burning, like someone had a lighter and was just burning the bottom of my feet, not just the bottom, the top. It started going up my calves, which was absolutely terrifying. Then it started in my hands. The worst of my hands, you know, touching anything. So holding my phone, you know, like say you're charging your phone or you've been using your phone for a while, it starts to heat up. Same with my laptop. When I'm editing my vlog, for example, the hard drive and the whole editing, everything overheats it and it starts to get really hot, especially if I'm also charging it. And that was just like intolerable to my hands. My feet got to the point where carpet felt so, like any rough surface felt so incredibly painful. It was really terrifying because when I started researching, well, what causes burning symptoms in your feet and burning like pain in your hands, the one thing that came up consistently was nerve damage, which is also called neuropathy. And that was incredibly incredibly scary because first of all, it was like, what the heck is causing this? I don't want to have permanent nerve damage, and if you don't figure out what's causing it, first of all, it can just be permanent, like whatever happens and however far it progresses, and it was progressing really quickly, then it can just become permanent and it cannot get any better. Thankfully, mine has gotten a little bit better, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but it was absolutely terrifying. And I was like, this is scary. This is urgent. We need to do something about this now, because it was progressing day by day. It was getting worse. And so I started researching like what can cause this, and Lyme can cause neuropathy, but a lot of other things can too. Diabetes can cause it, which I don't think I'm diabetic. I've never been diagnosed with diabetes. And so like I was looking through all the things, and the biggest thing that stood out to me was that drug-induced neuropathy is a thing. And I was like, I mean, I was looking at a timeline of what has changed over the past couple of months. And, you know, I had surgery beginning of May, and I had that tick bite, but I was negative for everything for the tick bite. And then the other things that had happened was, one, I had taken 14 days of doxy after the tick bite. But usually with drug-induced neuropathy, once you stop a med, it at least doesn't get worse. It will just stay the same, if not hopefully get better. And this was after I had stopped the neuropathy about a month later, and it was getting worse day by day. And the other 3 new meds I had started were the Zoladex, so the like implant drug, and I'm going to talk a lot more about all the kind of drug stuff and how I kind of I've done a bunch of research on that in the next vlog, but I started 3 new meds, and one was the implant, and then the other 2 meds were to offset symptoms from the first med. So I was like, wow. So I started researching, can these meds cause neuropathy? And I'm going to get more into that in next week's vlog, but the answer was yes. And so that was absolutely terrifying, because not only did I have, so within neuropathy, so that's like a nerve damage thing, right? It can cause a bunch of symptoms. It can cause dizziness. It can cause burning feet sensations. I also started having a muscle spasm, and I think I showed this in the last vlog and talked about this, or 2 vlogs ago, where my finger would just kind of go like this, but the rest of my hand wouldn't move. I'm moving the rest of my hand because, like, to move that, I kind of have to move everything else, but my muscle would be twitching on its own. And that was weird, and muscle twitches are a symptom of neuropathy. Ringing in the ears, I started having that recently, and it happened like once a day. Very quick, you know, maybe like 10 seconds, but I've never had that before, and that started happening, and that's a symptom of neuropathy. I just started having all of these really weird symptoms, even GI symptoms, so much more increased nausea. I was alternating between like diarrhea and constipation, and I was having a lot of diarrhea at night, and that's a symptom of neuropathy. Like I was Googling the symptoms that I had starting really recently, the new symptoms, and they were all linking up with neuropathy. I was having like an urgency to pee and almost like UTI symptoms, but I was tested for UTI and I was negative. And so it was like, what the actual heck? And so this was like a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And so I ended up meeting with a bunch of different doctors. I met with my endometriosis doctors. Literally within 1 week, I had 3 doctor's appointments. And I also got blood work done. I met with my PCP, being like, what is going on? And the consensus was like, we think it could be the meds, but we're gonna do a bunch of tests. So I got a bunch of blood work done that actually hasn't come back yet. But I also got a leg ultrasound, and that was actually this morning, and that was normal, thank goodness. I'm on the schedule for a brain MRI, and depending on what happens next, we're gonna decide if I wanna get a brain MRI or not. But basically, first thing I tried was blue emu, and that makes me really sad because they actually, I think, kill the emus for blue emu, and so it means that I was like really at the end of my rope, because it was getting worse and worse and worse every single day, and it was so terrifying. And so I tried blue emu, and it actually helped my neuropathy symptoms. So if anyone else has neuropathy, again, this was just my personal experience, and I was starting to have numbness as well. I couldn't tell if, and circulation issues, that was the other thing. I always have had kind of I always have had cold hands and feet, but this was like I would get out of a really hot bath, and my certain parts of my body that had the neuropathy, so like, you know, from here to here and then my calves down, would have random places of hot and cold. So that's why we got the leg ultrasound, because I was having these weird cold leg symptoms, these weird circulation symptoms that were different from my normal circulation issues. So that was scary. Anyway, getting back to the blue emu. So I tried the blue emu. I put it on my hands and feet, and for 24 hours, it didn't completely take it away, but from where the pain was, it dropped it significantly. And I was like, wow. And so for a couple of days, I just put on blue emu on my hands and feet, and then that would last about 24 hours, and then it would start to wear off. I stopped before my doctor's appointments last week because I was like, I want to know, is it continuing to get worse? Is it starting to plateau? What is going on? And I'm really going to go into this in the next vlog, because this vlog I recorded after when the next vlog is coming out. But I needed to give more background on the neuropathy symptoms I've been having, and then also my Lyme test results and just what has been going on. But yeah, we think we figured it out. We think that it is the drug-induced neuropathy, and it's from my endometriosis meds that I was on. But my neuropathy has not gone away completely. And that med that I was on, the Zoladex, it takes about 12 weeks to fully get out of your system. So I'm definitely happy with how much it has dropped, because by the end of last week, it had started to really decrease. By even a week ago, Tuesday of last week is when it actually started to decrease, and the Zoladex starts getting out of your system around that time. So I am not getting another Zoladex implant. I stopped the other two meds that I was on to offset the side effects of the Zoladex. And I'm trying a new med now that I've actually been on before and I've tolerated well. I did have, I was just starving on it, and then I was also retaining a lot of weight. So I gained a lot of weight, but I would much rather gain weight than have neuropathy and nerve damage symptoms. And also I was having severe depression and intrusive suicidal thoughts on that implant med, and that's why I was taking one of the other meds too, so to offset the side effects. It's so complicated. That is the background information. Next week, I'm going to get in a much clearer video on preparing for that incredibly pivotal doctor's appointment that I went to last Friday, and that literally changed everything, because the doctor listened to me, and we decided to change my treatment plan based on what was happening. But that is what has been going on. Those are the neuropathy and nerve damage symptoms, and I'm really hoping that the nerve damage completely goes away, or my burning pain goes away, but it could not. I could have slight neuropathy the rest of my life because it's not fully gone. And the more I use my hands, or the more I'm rubbing my feet on stuff without meaning to, on carpet, walking, that really irritates it. So by the end of the day, it's much worse than at the beginning of the day when I started. So fingers crossed that this continues to go away, but oh my god, this has been a terrifying journey. So I can't wait for y'all to see next week's vlog, because really, that was so pivotal, and I have definitely been in the fight or flight since all of this has been happening. I kicked it up, and I was like, we need to figure this out, and I was on my doctors, and I was giving them all the information I could, and showing them everything that was going on, and all of the research and proof I had that these meds can cause neuropathy. But yeah, it's been a journey. So thank you for watching, and I will continue to update you on where my neuropathy symptoms are in the future. But that is the current situation, and it's been so stressful. So fingers crossed it continues to get better, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of just new symptoms in general. So I will see you all next week. I hope you are having a fabulous day. My Squishmallow and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye, friends.